Hello and welcome to the Trygesis Thursday newsletter for January 30th, 2025, and this is our best newsletter to date. So, continuing along the lines of the theme of last week's newsletter, the theme today is Swift Talks Songwriting. We are going to show several short clips of Swift sharing his songwriting tips. He has written thousands of songs and he writes new ones nearly every day. There are a couple short announcements to be made before we get to his clips. And I just want to remind everyone that we've released 3 singles so far from our upcoming 12-song album. An Afterthought was written by JG.
An afterthought, I could have done it better now. An afterthought, I know I should have said it down. I told her just how much I care. I tell her all I never dared to say before. I was her that I adore. An afterthought.
Effie was written by Swift.
You're not the only girl I know. You're not the only girl I see. But you're the only girl who can save my world.
And our latest, titled Not Me, was also written by JG.
I'm in ecstasy, the friend. She's really here to need a friend. Not me. I'm the flea and I can't be that you never did see. Not me. There's no use in trying to explain.
So check those out on your favorite music platform. Just search for Trygesis. Now, our next single, Flip Flop Girl, written by me, is due out on February 1st. So if you go to our Patreon page, you can listen to it before it's released worldwide. Here's the URL for our Patreon page. So without further delay, here is Swift on songwriting.
Here's kind of an off-topic topic. I love songs that have titles that appear nowhere in the song. My favorite is Badge by Cream. Eric Clapton wrote it. It got its name when Ringo Starr was in the room, looked across the table and tried to read upside down, and it was Bridge. Clapton was writing, but Ringo said Badge, and it became the title, and it's perfect. It has nothing to do with the song. I just love it. I'd say the most famous one of this genre would be Bohemian Rhapsody. Never says it. You've got others like Kashmir. I don't think it says that anywhere in the song. Black Dog, Led Zeppelin were the king of riffs, and also titles that didn't appear in the song. I don't think Out in the Tiles have popped up either. We've got a few of our own here in Trygesis, including a song called Trygesis. And I made it up. Hey, our song Effie, which was, I guess it was our second or third single. The name never appears in the song. I've never met an Effie in my life, but it just came to me, and it's the title of the song. Around that same time, I wrote one called Space Cartoon. Just a good title for the song. Had nothing to do with anything else. Dylan wrote quite a few. My Back Pages, for example. There was White Rabbit. Very good. My favorite Bowie song, Letter to Hermione. Never says the name in there at all. Yes had a lot. South Side of the Sky, The Gates of Delirium, The Revealing Science of God, Tempest Fugit, Sound Chaser, The Ancient. Even the Bee Gees had one, New York Mining Disaster, 1941. Great song. Very odd. I loved them back then. Pre-disco. To me, the best one of all is A Day in the Life. So, sometimes make up a word, make up a title, or just pull a title out of the air that's a real word and make it work for your song. I just kind of came across a new routine for writing intros that are interesting, as well as outros, maybe solos, riffs. I would take a chord in the key of the song, come up with a random 4, 5, 6 chord pattern, and to put something interesting over it so it's not totally dull and boring. Start singing. Make up a melody as though that's going to be a song. until you find a catchy, short piece of melody, translate it to the guitar, put it on, then work on the instrumentation, maybe do a harmony line along with it, or a call and response, or a counterplay. It could be anything, and it serves to identify the song. Boom, the minute you start in on it, people who know the song will recognize it. And it's a great way to start a song, and it's really easy. And it's kind of satisfying to come up with a whole new melody that may or may not have anything to do with the rest of the song. And the same with the outro. Maybe do bookends where you have the same intro as outro, or do a variation with a modulation, or change instrumentation. Put a slide guitar instead of a mandolin, or a piano instead of a violin. Anyway, intros, outros, you got to get out of there somehow. And getting into it's just as tricky sometimes. So it kind of gives you a chance to take a breath before you start singing when you have a little intro. And especially if it's one you're happy with. Don't do a sad one. All right, songwriting methods. There are infinite songwriting methods. I rarely do the same one twice, but I did have one streak where for almost the entire year of 2021, I would wake up in the morning and before even leaving the room, grab the guitar and follow that stream of consciousness coming out of dreams and see what was there. And without fail, every day, something was there. And I'd just write one pattern, maybe two, and I had a multi-track cassette there, so I would record it so I didn't forget the melody or the tempo. Just a quick rough draft. I'd just do one or two parts, come back the next day, and after a few weeks, listen to what I had, and I could always find three parts that were totally dissimilar but worked together to make a much more interesting song than if you went linearly and just a stream of continuity if you wrote it all at once. That makes it a lot more interesting to break it up and have like your mind was in a different place for each of the parts. And I find myself getting excited when I know a bridge is coming up that's a whole new story in itself. And if you write that way, it's kind of tacking things together, but eventually it's surprising how you'll find a continuity in the dissimilarity, and your lyrics will tie together. I really write lyrics first. The music comes and I find what fits them. And I got a lot of songs that year, very good songs. So try writing dissimilar pieces and putting them together. That's one tip. Continuing with the theme of songwriting and how it can be done, many, many ways, I found a way that really is exciting for me. Ever since I saw the Beatles in 1964 on TV, I wanted to play music, but I didn't want to play the Beatles songs. I wanted to play my own songs. I assumed that's what you did. The Beatles play the Beatles songs. Even though they did do covers at the time, I wasn't into that. So a trick I found is to pretend I'm auditioning for an existing band or even a long gone band. I wrote a song called Ghosts of Dawn that was intended as a fake audition to join King Crimson. Came out great. They might have let me in if I could play like that. Anyway, another one, I woke up from a dream and I had a full-on song, words, music, everything completely written in my head. All I had to do was figure it out and jot it down when I woke up. I'd been talking to Ray Davies of the Kinks in the dream, and I wanted to join the Kinks. And it was set in 1965, 66, but I was my age. How does that work? And I woke up with a song called A Well-Rested Man, which I realized was only 3 letters off from their own hit, A Well-Respected Man. But anyway, turned into a terrific song, and it's one I'm going to play live, as long as I play live. It's super good little tune. So pretend you're going to join your favorite band and write a song as if they were going to hear it. That raises your expectations and your level of quality. I know Sammy Hagar became 10 times the guitar player he had been just by being involved with Eddie Van Halen. You don't show up and put out 70%. So he elevated Sammy to a higher level. And in our case, JG in Trygesis, his playing forced me to look at what I was doing and not coast on what I'd already learned. But the standards had to rise sky high to even approach his levels. So I hope we get some of that on video for you as well in one of these clips. And that's all I know for tonight. Check out the shirt. Every bit as important as the song itself is the instrumentation you choose to put on that song. It may not be the thing you anticipate in your mind. Try everything. I became a recent huge fan of tremolo lead guitar out of the blue, and I'm kind of making it a trademark thing now where I use it in almost every song. I've always loved 12-string guitars. I've owned at least 4 of them and always sell them, and then I want another one because the sound is so fantastic on some of the songs I write. I like the standard acoustic and electric guitar together, but the addition of tremolo gives my songs a whole different feel than they ever had before. I've used to use, in the old rock days, fuzz box, wah-wah pedal. Then I got a effects box. Try everything. I found it. A good chorus flange, kind of reverb mix, a little bit of echo, and tremolo. That's what I keep ending up with. Every once in a while I need to go off track and get something totally unique, but I come back to the same old things once in a while. Again, the instrumentation, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, drums and bass. Boy, you can't go wrong with that. And you can go back, way back to Creedence Clearwater, or move up through Sheryl Crow, go back again through Beatles, Badfinger, and Stones. Acoustic guitar and electric guitar together worked wonders. Not every song. Break it up. Never do the same thing twice. Try Eleanor Rigby. Anyway, check your instrumentation. If you've never played with a keyboard player, which I haven't, try it. I'll do that next. The end. I was asked who are my biggest influences, and I realized immediately that my favorite bands are not my biggest influences. They're not two totally different things. The Beatles, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Byrds, Yardbirds. I listen to them for them, don't feel any competition or need to mimic them in any way. So I get to just enjoy them. The people that in biggest influences are people that are totally unlike me, and I'm not their biggest fan. I'm not a big follower of John Prine, but I get a vibe from his lyric writing that does inspire me to write things I wouldn't write otherwise. Ways of turning a phrase or using incongruous adjectives, but making it work, and making adjectives rhyme with adjectives and pronouns rhyme with pronouns, titles. So your favorites aren't necessarily going to be your influences. They aren't in my case, or everything would sound like the Beatles and Zeppelin. Ta-da!
Flip-flop girl, watching the ocean swirl. I like her a lot, her flip-flops are hot. Flip-flop girl. I headed west to California, I needed the sun. I left my home in Salem, Ohio, searching for a special one. Those California girls are tanning every day. There's one that caught my eye, I could not look away. Flip-flop girl, watching the palm leaves twirl. She stands in the shade, wearing flip-flops of suede. Flip-flop girl. I stroll along the splintered boardwalk, hanging in the air. I hope to see the señorita whose footwear made me stare. If I see her again, I'll try to ask her name. the sand, her feet zebra striped and flip-flop girl. I just wanna meet her, her feet also reveal if she's the right one. When I see her walking, if her flip-flops do the talking, she's my true love. I just want to feel us walking hand in hand, her flip-flops spraying sand around our knees. Flip-flop girl, I'm living in a lonely world. I like her a lot, I hope she gives me a shot.